In Morgan Freeman's new National Geographic show, The Story of Us, the Hollywood icon travels the globe interviewing a diverse multitude of people, including a few famous public figures, to shed light on the common bonds of the human experience. Business Insider spoke to Freeman and the show's producers, James Younger and Lori McCreary, at a hotel suite in New York City. We discussed Freeman's interviews with Bill Clinton and Nadia Talakno of Pussy Riot for the series, his personal keys to longevity, and the show's mission to, as Freeman put it, reduce the amount of tension between people who don't know each other. The Story of Us premieres Wednesday at 9 p.m. EST on National Geographic. John Lynch, Mr. Freeman, your interviewing in the series is incredible, and really the driving force of the show, as opposed to a voice-over narration. What made that face-to-face element the best way to tell these stories? Morgan Freeman, eye contact. Eye contact is part of any storytelling interview. Interviewing someone and having eye contact, you get much more information because the eyes talk, too. And going and sitting down with these people also gives it more legitimacy. James Younger, I've done lots of work with documentaries where there isn't an on-camera interviewer. As a producer, you sort of sit behind the camera lens, and ask a bunch of questions, and that is an eye-to-eye conversation. But there's something different about having Morgan on camera. Because he is Morgan, people tend to look at him and don't think about the cameras, so it ends up becoming a very human conversation, a much stronger emotional connection. And Morgan's so great at, I guess, being an actor. He's quite good at figuring out how to get people into these emotions. Lori McCreary, drawing people out too. He draws people out in a way that sometimes we don't even know where it's going to go, and we get more information than we expected. Freeman, well, actually, the secret to all of it is listening. Lynch, your passion to enlist in the U.S. Air Force, is a touchstone throughout the series. At one point in the show, you speak to an American drone strike officer, who told you he regretted his service. Did that conversation change your perspective of the modern military at all? Freeman, no, not at all. The military. It's a necessary evil. I put it in those terms, because we just launched our 11th aircraft carrier. No other country in the world has more than one, and we have 11. My feeling about the military is, as I said, it's a necessary evil. We don't need what we got. Personally, I think we do a lot better dealing with home, infrastructure, education. Look at Puerto Rico. We claim not to be able to deal with that? Horsepucky. Lynch, what can you tell me about the filming of your interview with Nadia from Pussy Riot? How did that come about? Younger, I'm not quite sure how we got in touch with her. It was through a contact who knew her. What's really interesting about her, is how she's so adaptable. She's kind of a self-professed troublemaker. Whatever's going wrong, she's going to say something about it. She's in the US now, and she's found a whole bunch of other stuff to get engaged with. She's a motivator of people. She's one of these people who is a magnet, attracts other people who feel the same way. Freeman, yeah. It's a certain kind of extant courage. There are people who think things are wrong. And then there are people who have an absolute need to say it, to stand up and say, that's wrong. She's one of those. And I love the name. It makes a point. Lynch, at another point in the show, a homeless man in London, says he recognizes you by your voice. As a viewer, it sort of felt like a voice of God moment, as people have described your voice. How does it feel to know that your voice spans the globe in that way? Freeman, I don't think about it. Younger, what I think was interesting about that conversation was not really that it was Morgan's voice, but that Morgan addressed him by his name. I'm sure he knew Morgan was a famous Hollywood actor, but to be spoken to made him feel human. Someone who goes around with this mess of outgrown hair and doesn't have a name to the millions of people that have walked past him in his life. He's just an object, an animate object. To feel human like that, McCreary, yeah, when Morgan called him Stuart, you saw this. Pause. Lynch, definitely, it was a moving moment. On another note, what can you tell me about your extended conversation with Bill Clinton for the series? What did you all take away from it? McCreary, well, it's always great to talk and listen to Bill. Some days are better than others in America these days, depending on what's going on in the news, and I think all of us just came in thinking, okay, we're going to have an interview. And then 2 hours later, all of us felt buoyed up. He has a historical perspective, a world perspective about what's going on,